AITA for punching my best friend for flirting with my girlfriend? Okay, so this is going to be a long one, but I want to give as much context as possible to get a fair judgment. I'll start from the beginning. I, 25M, have been dating Elena, 24F, for about 3 years. She's amazing, smart, funny, and the kind of person who lights up a room just by walking into it. Everyone loves her, including my best friend, Mike, 26M. Mike and I have been friends since high school. He's always been the life of the party, the guy who makes everyone laugh, and someone I thought I could trust completely. That trust was put to the test recently, and I don't know if I handled things the right way. A couple of weeks ago, Elena and I decided to host a small get-together at our place. We invited a few close friends, including Mike. It was supposed to be a chill evening with drinks, music, and good company. Things started off great, everyone was having a good time, and the vibe was perfect. But then I noticed something that made my stomach turn. Mike was being overly friendly with Elena. At first, I brushed it off as him just being his usual charming self. But as the night went on, it became harder to ignore. He kept finding excuses to be near her, laughing a little too hard at her jokes, and touching her arm or shoulder whenever he spoke to her. Elena didn't seem to notice anything unusual. She's naturally friendly and assumes the best in people. But I could see it. The way Mike looked at her wasn't just friendly, it was something else entirely. I tried to keep my cool. I didn't want to make a scene, especially not in front of our friends. But as the night went on, Mike's behavior became more blatant. At one point, he leaned in way too close to Elena while she was pouring herself a drink and whispered something that made her laugh. I didn't catch what he said, but the sight of them together like that made my blood boil. I decided to confront him privately. I pulled Mike aside into the kitchen and asked him what the hell he was doing. At first, he played dumb, acting like he didn't know what I was talking about. But when I pressed him, he smirked and said, "Relax, man. I'm just having a little fun. No harm in that, right?" That response sent me over the edge. I told him to back off and reminded him that Elena was my girlfriend, not some random girl he could flirt with. He rolled his eyes and said, "Fine, whatever. You're overreacting." I thought that would be the end of it, but I was wrong. Later that evening, I caught Mike trying to dance with Elena in a way that was way too close for comfort. That's when I lost it. I walked up to him, grabbed his arm, and told him to leave. He laughed and said, "What's your problem?" "Can't handle a little competition." Something in me snapped. Without thinking, I punched him. Hard. Right in the jaw. The room went silent. Everyone stared at us in shock as Mike stumbled back, clutching his face. Elena ran over and pulled me away, demanding to know what was going on. I told her everything, how Mike had been flirting with her all night and how he dismissed my earlier warning. She looked stunned but didn't say much in the moment. Mike, on the other hand, was furious. He called me a psycho and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. After he left, the party fizzled out. Our friends left soon after, and it was just me and Elena. She sat me down and said, "I appreciate you standing up for me, but was punching him really necessary?" I tried to explain how disrespected I felt, not just by Mike's actions, but by his attitude when I confronted him. She nodded but said, "You could have handled it differently. Violence isn't the answer." Over the next few days, I started getting messages from mutual friends. Some said I was justified in standing up for myself and Elena, while others said I overreacted and should apologize to Mike. Even Mike sent me a message, accusing me of ruining our friendship over nothing. He claimed he wasn't flirting and that I'd misinterpreted his actions. But I know what I saw, and I know how it made me feel. This whole situation has left me feeling conflicted. On one hand, I don't regret standing up for Elena. She's my girlfriend, and it's my job to protect her from people who disrespect her or our relationship. But on the other hand, I can't help but wonder if I took things too far. Should I have handled it differently? Was punching Mike really the best way to deal with the situation? Elena has been supportive, but I can tell she's still processing everything. She suggested that I talk to Mike and try to resolve things, but I don't know if I can. How do you rebuild trust with someone who disrespected you like that? And even if I could forgive him, would I ever feel comfortable having him around Elena again? Probably not. So, Reddit, I need your judgment. AITA for punching my best friend for flirting with my girlfriend? Should I have handled things differently? Or was I justified in standing up for myself and my relationship? I'm open to hearing your thoughts because, honestly, I'm feeling pretty lost right now. Edit 1. Additional context. I've seen a lot of comments asking about Mike's behavior in the past, so I want to clarify a few things. This isn't the first time he's crossed a line, but it's definitely the most blatant. Over the years, there have been little things, comments about how lucky I am to have Elena, jokingly asking if she has a sister, stuff like that. I always brushed it off because I didn't think he'd actually try anything. I guess I was wrong. As for Elena, she's been amazing through all of this. She told me she didn't notice Mike's behavior at first but started to pick up on it as the night went on. She said she felt uncomfortable but didn't want to make a scene. I don't blame her for that. It's a tough position to be in. She's also reassured me that she's 100% committed to our relationship and has no interest in Mike whatsoever. That's been a huge relief. Edit 2. Moving forward. I've decided to reach out to Mike for a conversation. Not because I want to rekindle our friendship, but because I think it's important to set boundaries and get closure. I'm not expecting an apology, but I need to make it clear that his behavior was unacceptable and that there's no place for him in my life if he can't respect me or my relationship. Additional update, the talk with Mike. So I had the conversation with Mike, and it was tense to say the least. I started by explaining how his behavior that night made me feel. I told him that, as my best friend, I expected him to respect me and my relationship with Elena. At first, he was defensive. He claimed he didn't mean any harm and that I'd overreacted. I stood my ground and said, intent doesn't erase the impact. What you did hurt me, and it hurt Elena. Eventually, Mike admitted that he might have crossed a line but stopped short of giving a full apology. He said, "Look, I didn't think it was a big deal. Maybe I was out of line, but I never meant to hurt you." It wasn't exactly the heartfelt apology I was hoping for, but at least he acknowledged some responsibility. I told him that while I appreciated his honesty, I needed some time to figure out where we stand as friends. As for Elena, she's proud of me for handling the conversation maturely, but she's also made it clear that she doesn't want Mike around anymore. And honestly, I can't blame her. Trust is hard to rebuild, especially when it's been broken in such a personal way. Final thoughts. I've decided to take a step back from my friendship with Mike. Maybe we'll find a way to mend things in the future, but for now, I need to prioritize my relationship with Elena and my own mental health. This whole ordeal has been a wake-up call about boundaries and respect. It's been painful, but I'm hopeful that it'll lead to stronger, healthier relationships in the long run. Looking back, I think this situation has taught me a lot about communication and trust. Elena and I have had deeper conversations about how we can handle similar situations in the future. We've also discussed boundaries with friends and what makes us both comfortable. It's been a learning curve, but I feel like we're coming out of this stronger than before. To anyone else who's been in a similar situation, I'd love to hear how you handled it. Did you confront the friend? Did it ruin the friendship? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed the story, make sure to like and subscribe, please.